All right, so I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5:03 p.m. on December the 31st, 2020. And I'll turn it over to the mayor for the flag salute and invocation.
Yeah, everybody take a moment. Think of the people dying from COVID. And pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to turn it over to the borough manager for the roll call.
Council President Papaleo,
Present.
Councilman Kyle Willis,
Present.
Councilwoman Lee Daly,
Present.
Councilman Nick Waters,
Here.
Councilwoman Melinda Isaac,
Present.
Councilman Jason McGuigan,
Here.
Councilman Robert Ruskowski.
I don't think he was able to get in.
All right, well,
If he
Mayor
gets in,
Bob-
I'll let him in late.
all right. Mayor Bob Fry,
Here,
Alex,
Present.
and I am here.
All right, so we'll move to the audience participation portion.
Nothing was submitted.
Okay. All right, so there are, it looks like 4 items for consideration to discuss this evening. I would like to discuss placing the 2021 roads program out to bid. The sooner we get that out to bid, the better. We'll get those bids back. That will all be signed, sealed, and delivered before the spring. So we'll be the first to get cracking on that. So it's of course better to get that ironed out now. Any thoughts on that?
Just as a note, the reason this is on here is because Lisa had suggested it at the last meeting and we ran by and missed it. And so we just needed to wanted to get it done before the end of the year.
Okay.
I had made a note and I had missed bringing it to a motion at the last meeting, just so people are aware why we're talking about it now.
Okay. All right. Since it's your department, I think you should probably make the motion and
All right, I'll make the motion to put the 2021 roads program out to bid.
Second.
all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'd like to discuss a resolution establishing a BPT licensing fee. The wording of this is a little bit misleading. I believe there already is a business license fee. That business license fee will go from $25, I believe, to $50. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So, can we discuss this? Anybody have anything to add? Okay. All right. So I'd like to entertain a motion from the body of council to establish, how do I want to word this, Alex, actually?
Sorry, I'm on mute.
That's all right.
Resolution, so you would want a motion to establish a resolution to adopt the 2021 business privilege tax license fee.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion from the body of council to adopt the business privilege tax licensing fee of $50 per year.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Please note the no vote.
Got that.
So we'd like to discuss the 2021 Folcroft budget.
Joe, just a point of procedure here. I have about 10 questions and I know everybody wants to get out of here. I'm asking or respectfully requesting, I can go through these like line item by line item. There's about 10 of them. Ask a question, get an answer, follow up if I need it, and then just move on. I'm not looking to belabor this meeting, but I do have some questions.
I'd be happy to hear them out.
Okay, with your permission, I'll move forward.
Permission granted.
Great. So on the first line item, the money that we're carrying over from 2020, it's set at 0. What is our balance as of today?
Mike, if you could fill in on that. So here, there's a long answer to this question. Some of our accounts weren't reconciled since June. Financial accounts should be reconciled monthly. It's a common practice. So we had to go back and reconcile accounts from June until the current. There was another issue in that, and I don't know who's responsible for it, but I wasn't happy about it. There were some 5 accounts, financial accounts with, I believe, whatever bank it was. What was the bank, Andrew?
M&T.
M&T Bank. That's correct.
Yeah.
With M&T Bank that we were not made signers on, which was something that should have happened immediately at the reorganization meeting in January. We should have signed papers to have been signers on all accounts. Some of these accounts still had Councilwoman Peterson as the signer on the account. It was never changed over, which should have been done immediately. So the data collection in terms of trying to rake in the data to determine exactly what we did have on hand was difficult. So I'll be honest with you, up until this very moment, I'm not really sure what the carryover is going to be from this year. I think we had Mike working overtime on that to get this done.
Right.
We
have an approximation, but if I can interject, is that what Councilman Papaleo is saying is that in addition to the accounts not being reconciled, we're faced with a lot of incoming invoices that are past due that we're unaware of. We're it's like a landmine every day that we're being hit with someone who says they weren't paid. So to grab the cash balance and say, oh, you're here, and all of a sudden you get $25,000 invoice that hasn't been paid, really going by surprise. But that being said, I think we were able to reconcile through November through M&T and Republic through the current date, working a lot of extra hours, and I think approximately, without any catching the Borough, it's around 200,000. I would approximate that the balance would be. But again, you have to preface that with bills that aren't paid, late fees on the pension fund had to be paid October 1st, and the previous administrator did not make that payment, even though they were on the service through October 20th. And there's late fees and penalties that we haven't been presented by Anderson yet on it. So that cash
Mike, do you
balance,
have a balance as of today, though?
like I said, it's approximate based on.
No, I don't mean what you're
bills.
carrying forward. I'm saying, what is our balance as of today in the accounts?
Mike,
for the
I got
M&T
those numbers
account?
in front of me if you want me
Yeah.
to read them.
Sure,
So-
Andrew, again.
So we have 2 general fund accounts, one with M&T Bank, one with Republic Bank. The one with M&T account has $336,927.38. With another
Run that. Wait, say
$47.
that again, Andrew. 336,000.
That's $336,273.38. With interest, it says here $47.53. And our general account with Republic Bank, which is the primary general account that we typically use, and these two should be folded together into the same account. I recommend it Republic, but it's irrelevant right now. The Republic Bank account has $359,924.18 in it currently.
Okay.
Right, but the M&T
there
account, that M&T account doesn't include the payroll for December, which is
okay, that's 100,000 that I think was taken out of it, right?
right. Exactly.
So-
Yes.
All right, so then I think we should assume that that's 236,927.
And then we have $234,000, $297,000 expenditures waiting to go out in Republic.
Okay. All right.
So
So
that's-
what's
Copy
the-
that. Joe, you just want me to continue and just get through these?
Yes.
So skipping down to 310, business privilege taxes. I see here, and that looks like a positive for next year. We're expected to get 58,000 extra dollars in business privilege tax collection. Now, I remember the business privilege tax company that we brought in said that there was $1 million on the street. Is that a low estimate for that? And we think we can do better?
Well, $1 million, I don't believe that we ever said with $1 million on the street. And that would be, the tax rate's only 1 mil.
Mike, I'm
in the
sorry.
borough.
I didn't say you guys ever did. I think that was what the borough manager had said to us, that the company said to them. They believe there was $1 million on the street of business privilege tax that was uncollected. Am I wrong about that, Andrew?
That's correct. We were up to $1 million. Yes.
Copy. So that
Yeah, I
could
don't
be
think that, and Councilman, in any given year, that might be, that's over a period of time, that it would be over a contractual length of time. But again, the rate's 1 mil, so I think any expectation needs to be tempered a little bit on that. But there'll certainly be an increase based upon, we've even seen some of it in November, some of the audits we've conducted. So I believe we'll definitely be picking up the $58,000. No question about that.
Great. And then I could jump all the way down to sanitation. I don't want to go too fast. If I'm going to, I'm just trying to, I know everybody wants to get out of here.
What's the line item number? Sanitation's 364, 300.
Right. And so 364, 301, we have that. That's a carryover, the same number as 2020. My understanding is that the county is going to be charging about $5 extra per ton, which would result in about $30,000 extra.
But I think what we see there, since and Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, since the payments to the street sweeper are no longer necessary, we paid the street sweeper off. I think that freed up quite a bit of liquidity for us. Is that right, Kyle? That was part of our.
Yes, but I believe he's just talking about the receipts right now, correct, Jason? But yes, without the street sweeper, that's kind of folded into the same sections of the budget on the expenditure side. But yeah.
Okay, so under the former budget, there was I think under sanitation for expenses, there was a capital outlay cost. That's how they would write up the street sweeper payments. Am I correct?
Yes.
So without that coming out of our sanitation budget in future years, that allowed us some wiggle room. Does that make sense, Jason? A little wiggle room with what we were already bringing in from sanitation fees.
That does make sense.
And yeah, the outlay for 2020 for street sweeper was $40,000 in the budget.
So we're considering that to make up for the tonnage that they're going to charge for the county. Makes sense.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I wasn't sure. I mean, you have some more inside information on what that's going to look like. I didn't know exactly what the number was going to be, but I'm glad I do. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
That is helpful.
Go
ahead.
Then I could just jump to expenses. And the first expense is kind of a general question, but it falls under health insurance. Did health insurance go up at all this year?
So with what I've been reading, the expectation is that health insurance won't go up this year. It will go up significantly next year because people aren't going to the doctor. I can't remember the full details of the journal article that I'd read, but the projections are that there is going to be some jump in health insurance in the next year or two. And it was unpredictable as to when that was expected to happen. And because of that unpredictability, I don't really know what we were going to be looking at. But yes, we did plan for, I think, roughly a 3 to 4% increase in healthcare expenses. Is that right, Kyle? I think we did a 3%.
Off the top of my head, I do not remember the exact number, but I can figure it out if you'd like.
AJ Gallagher should send us something that says if it's going up or not this year. Did they do that this year?
Andrew, I don't know if we've gotten anything from them yet.
So Joe, I called you about this. I spoke to Pat last week. Actually, right now, we're looking at a slight decrease, but it just totally depends. Right now, we're looking at a slight decrease for next year. We'll see how that ultimately works out.
I
Okay.
believe we just got that recently, correct, Andrew?
Yeah, I think that was on, that was probably Thursday or the day before Christmas
Right.
last week.
So
Awesome.
And with, with the highway department, I mean, I do expect, when with the labor situation resolves itself, whether they come back or there are 2 new additions, however this works out, there will be, more premium costs involved there. So with sort of the unpredictable nature of that situation, there's a practice of budget padding where you sort of find places where you could pad a little bit of leeway. And there was a little bit of that with I think with healthcare as well. Does that make sense?
It does. And then jumping down to the last line item in the first of expenses, which is miscellaneous admin expenses. Now that's showing a major increase from 6,500 in 2020 to 77,000. And I was just wondering what that is.
What's the line item? I'm trying to get to it. Miscellaneous admin. So
400.900.
Yeah, I think it's 3,500, right?
yeah, it's 3,500 on the budget on the website.
Okay.
Well,
That
so
must be a misprint.
yeah, I think I think we actually dropped that.
Okay. All right.
I think that was a decrease. I distinctly remember us talking about that. I think we halved it.
Yeah.
I think it was close to 7,000. Am I right, Kyle? What was last year's?
Give me a second. I will find you last year's, but yes, it is 3,500 in the budget as presented right now.
Copy that. Then I'm all the way down to general government and legal. So we're looking at an increase of 18,000 for that. I think most of that would be for the labor attorneys, I'm guessing.
Not all of it. Not all of it. Some of it does represent an increase to our current solicitor. We worked them like dogs this year, Alex. I'm sorry. We actually kind of ripped them off with the amount of work that we put them through this year. We got a really good deal on them this past year. I think it was 3,000 a month or something like that. So because of the amount of work we're doing, that was increased, and that is a reasonable amount. I mean, I've compared it to other municipalities. Some of them are spending something to the tune of like $80,000 a year on their solicitors, which I think is crazy. But I mean, this is something to the tune of, I think, 54K. And then I think the 10,000 that you see underneath that, I think that represents more the labor attorney budget for 2021. Does that make more sense?
Yep. And I'm giving you short answers only because I'm trying to get through it. I know people are thinking about watching Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve. So electricity, this I understand, but I just wanted to check. So Kyle, that we saved a tremendous amount of money. And when I say we, I mean you looking into this new outfit that's going to provide our electrical services. But that's going to go from 70 to 27,000. It's going to be more than 50%.
We were paying an exorbitant amount of money for our electric supply because of the way that it was contracted out. And we can go through and take a look at it. But yes, we were expected to save that amount of money. I do believe also the budgeted amount from 2020 was a bit high as well compared to actual expenditures. So it won't actually be 50%, but this is already this constitutes a slightly less padded out number, mainly because we have a specifically contracted rate. So we know exactly how much we're going to be spending, if that makes sense.
It does.
So we have a much better idea.
Now, just down to the maintenance and repairs. That one is showing that it's going down. Do we really think that that's going to go down since how we're still in the same building? And I mean, we're already having issues, I guess, with the boilers. I saw an email go out this week.
I do. Yeah. So the boilers are probably going to cost us a couple thousand. So, I mean, because other areas are padded, I think we'll be okay. But I think once we're out of that building, a lot of our maintenance and repair problems end there.
I agree with that.
And I think, I feel like definitely by the end of the summer, if not sooner, probably by the end of spring, we'll be in the new building. That'll be it.
And then the debt service for the building, Joe, is that the next line item under there? I wasn't sure if that's what capital expenditures was for the debt service, but I'm
Yes.
guessing that it is.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
so
we
it's-
expect, now I actually think that number is a little low because I think in the first year, we're going to have something closer to like $340,000. Because what's the first payment? First payment will be,
The first year is actually lower. So this is actually I believe this is the budgeted amount continuing year on year after that. The first year, the numbers are actually lower than not higher for the first years of debt service.
okay. So
Or
we
the
will
first
expect-
the payments are, they actually increase because once the loan is closed, that's when you start paying the interest. If
Right.
I understand it correctly.
And when you build a house, you don't start paying the mortgage till you move in, till it's
Right.
done. So
So you're not,
we'll be a couple months through the year before I get it. Okay.
Makes sense. I figured that's what it was. I just wanted to be sure. Now, this next set, this for the police, this is a clerical error. But there's no raises in there for the chief or for the police, and they have contractually obligated raises.
There was raises in there for the patrolmen, for the police, I believe. We scheduled a 3% increase for the police. Although now that you mention it, I think last year you hired a new full-time beat cop. Am I right?
There's 11 full-time officers right now, but I'm just looking so you have the police chief's line item, and it's
Right.
carried over from last year, but he has a contractually obligated raise coming this year. Now, I don't listen, my memory ain't what it used to be, but I thought it was 2% in from January to June, and then another 2% from July, but it could be 1%, somewhere in that, but they break it off over 2 sections of the year.
so there is a calculated raise for the police officers, and that is calculated out to be 3% as it shows up right now. And I believe we were under the impression it was 3% overall for the year with the various changes, based on what you were just saying. And there is thought it was in here. Sorry, I'm bouncing back. There's also one in there for under part-time as well. So
They get
there
like a
is the raises
quarter.
calculated into the part-time and into the police officers.
Correct. So if there is a contractual agreement that stipulates that he requires a raise, which I would need Alex to look over, that we have to make good on that. It doesn't have to be reflected in the budget necessarily, but it has to be delivered. So I was under the impression, and forgive me for my mistake, but I didn't know that I considered a police chief to be on a sort of a different sort of plane in terms of than a patrolman. Is their salary still stipulated by the same collective bargaining agreement, Alex? They're management, right? Is that in a sense?
Right. With no knowledge of how you guys operate, I would say no. Usually the municipality itself has a negotiated agreement with their chief of police separate from their ordinary patrolmen or lower management.
Okay. All right. So, Alex, or I'm sorry, Kyle, you got your calculator handy there?
I do, yes.
Give me a figure that's 2% higher or 3%. We'll just to be safe, call it 3% higher than 136.83.
I've already got it for you, $140,979.19.
Which is a difference of what?
A little over $4,000.
All right. So make the change. Amend that.
Joe, I got to tell you something I'm remembering just now because you mentioned that other officer. When I looked at this, I wasn't sure if that was in the 1,000,000, but memory serves, he actually did add that for the budget. So the 32,000 is for raises, and that would cover, I mean, the percentage, 2 to 3% on that.
Okay.
So I don't think that's an issue.
Okay. All right. So here's what we do from the flip a page backwards on the new budget, Kyle, under the operational reserve, and deduct the difference from the 41,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Give it to the police chief. If that's what the
And
contractual
Joe, I'm
agreement-
not looking for you to do that. I mean, I'm not looking for everyone. I mean, so far we're down. I'm almost done here. And I think for the most part, everything looks good from your answers. I'm not looking for you to move a couple $1,000s. I understand that. I mean, I'm not,
I mean, I think it's good. It's good practice, though. I think we should. So let's move. And I'm glad you brought it up. So go ahead and move it around, Kyle. Can we do that?
I mean, I don't know what the requirements are for us to, if we're changing the budget here now, Alex, but I can do the math. That's easy.
Can we
That's-
change it or no?
You're not changing it, if I understand you correctly. You're just moving money from an allocated pool on a line item to a different person, correct?
Right, to bring it
Yes.
in accordance with our contractual agreements.
Right, so it's already budgeted, then you're fine.
Okay.
Without,
Just
you
wanted to
don't have
make,
to go through the whole amended process.
Okay.
just wanted to make sure. Okay.
All right, so go ahead
All
and
right.
make that shift. Hold your questions for a moment, Jason. I want to get that
Sure.
calculation
Sure.
done. And I appreciate that. That was a good eye on that. Yes.
Okay. And it was, how much is in that capital reserve? Or operational
Capital reserve
reserve
has
is
41,000.
41.
No, we're taking it from the operational reserve. So the operational reserve is 41,000. That's what it's there for. So pull it out of there and pop it in the right place.
Okay, so the new item for operational reserve will be $36,893.81.
Very good. And you've upped you moved the 4% over. Okay. All right, Jason, what's next on your questions?
Sorry, I was muted. Just the MMO payment. That's another one that it looks like it was just taken from the 2020. I believe in September, we got the notification that payment is going to be 520,000, and it's showing here at 481,000. That's for the pension.
So we're going to need another 40,000 there.
I think so. Let me see if I can find that exact number. I wrote down 520, but I want to make sure that's legit. It's actually 524,782 is what we got back in September.
524,782.
Yeah.
Put that number in, Kyle. And then
Yeah.
if what AJ Gallagher has told us about the insurance is correct.
Joe, this is for pension, for the pension payment, our obligation.
Right. I'm looking for where we're going to take it. If the insurance projections are correct, and I have no problem with going with those projections. What did we pay last year?
You asking me, Joe?
I mean, I would need that data to make it determine.
481, 343.
Yeah, I'm talking about for the health insurance across the board. Because
Joe, we're expecting a decrease. My understanding from Pat is by about $50,000.
okay, does that include the
That's all borough insurance.
including the workman's comp?
That's specifically workman's comp's largest percentage, largest portion of it's about $30,000 saving in workman's comp.
All right, so take 30,000 from the workman's comp. Give that 30,000 to the police pension. Sorry, my cat's meowing over here. I think she wants to. And take the remaining 10,000 that we, or well, what do we got here? Let me do the exact math here. So 40.
It's $43,439 is the difference.
All right. So then take the 30,000 from workman's comp. And then I guess whatever the remainder is probably going to be around the 3% that we added to the health insurance costs. It's probably going to round out about to the same amount of money.
Right. Okay, I'll make those adjustments for our document.
All right. So I think thank you, Jason. It was good.
Got two more and I'm done, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to point out on rec, let me see here. Let me not skip one. Okay, so explained to me already, asked and answered about the highway folks, and skipping down all the way to parks and playgrounds. We had $12,500 we set it aside for contracted services. Now what that was basically community day, basically for your float, whatever they are, blow ups. I'm the worst guy to ask this question, but bands, things like that. And I'd hate to see that go away. Is there anywhere else? I mean, we could get money to keep that.
It won't go away. So a lot of these decision makings were made with COVID in mind, without the ability to congregate in large groups. There were some things that we just didn't see a need for in this year. But if this vaccination if we're fully vaccinated by the end of the summer and the experts say get back to your life the way it was, I have no problem. I mean, we will have the money in the operational reserve and in the capital reserve to make capital expenses, and we could use the general fund expenses to go, so that the money will be there if circumstances allow. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And my last one, and then I'll turn it back. I'll be done. Is I want to caution everybody on the sanitation and sewer, and it's kind of in flux. I guess there was a decision that came out this week that's going to affect the lawsuit between the county and Aqua, and the preliminary budget and final budgets, I believe, have been done for the different authorities. Now, both of those things are coming to play, but the short answer of it is, it looks like they're going to saddle us with another 10% increase on these authority payments. Now that's showing, it's a cut and paste line item from last year. But just so everybody has a heads up, I mean, they just go up every year, and that's what we're looking at there. And then that's all I have.
No, I'm glad because I know you're on both of those boards, and that's good feedback. You were sick. I didn't want to bug you with some of the details, and I'm glad you brought that up. Alex, are we allowed to change or adjudicate sewer fees at any time, or is that something that we have to do right now?
Something that you're allowed to change down the line. So it doesn't have to be set in stone right now.
All right. So when we get, and Jason, I need you to let me know, because I think you serve on both of those boards. Please let me know as soon as you do. I have Bill Matthews in here. Bill, I just saw you in the waiting room here. I figured I'd let him in. But yeah, Jason, please let me know as soon as you can what that's going to look like, and we'll revisit the issue. If we have to, adjudicate the sewer fees, later in the year, we'll do it.
Copy that.
All right. I do want to stress before we vote on this budget that the budget kind of looks to the future. I did want a little bit of financial wiggle room because, a lot of people have it in their mind that this new building in the community center is the solution to all of our problems, and it's a solution to most of them. But in solving one problem, we often create another. After the building is completed and we make the move, at some point when we redevelop the property that the old Borough building is on, we're going to have to find a new home for the highway department. There's going to be other things that we're going to have to start preparing for. And this budget kind of puts us on a fiscal path to allow for that. I don't want to be caught with our pants down, needing to move the highway department when we have a potential developer who wants to help us develop a new vision for that whole area in Old Folcroft when the time comes. So this allows a little bit of preparation for that. So for anybody who has any reservations about it, I particularly Jason, I think you've expressed them. It wasn't a budget that, we're not raising fund money here to just, go spend crazily. We're trying to prepare for the next thing that's coming.
Joe,
So-
Mr. President, I will say this. I just went through every question I had. Question was answered. I think everything seems in line. And I guess my only question then would be to you, this budget looks like it could survive without the tax increase, based on the tax increase being less than, I believe, a conservative carryover of $200,000, and the tax increase being less than $200,000. I would then just ask, why raise taxes?
Well, we have to consider that we saved somewhere in the room of, I guess, $50,000 on crossing guards this year. We saved, so there was a lot of expenditure reduction that COVID afforded us. I mean, COVID did us, I don't want to say, let me choose my words better. It didn't do us any favors, but there were some things that we saw decrease in expenditures in, which next year may not happen. So, police overtime, we actually ended up ahead of the game because of the opportunities that PICO afforded us in paying for our overtime. I mean, there was things that were afforded to us this year that we shouldn't count on next year. In fact, that I'm quite confident that we can't really count on next year. So that in mind, and with, as I've said, an eye to the future, things that we want to, projects we want to undertake moving forward, that was what, sort of fueled or drove the increase. Is that, like I said, we're preparing for rehoming the highway department. We're going to have to procure a large piece of land and put a fairly large pole barn to hold all the highway equipment. There are other projects like the Montgomery Park Gateway project that are coming up, the botanical garden and outdoor classroom that's coming up. There are things that we're intending to do along Delmar Drive to improve the experience of just driving through town. And these things are going to cost money. And that was a factor too. Are there any other questions? No further questions. Okay, with no further questions, I'd like to entertain a motion from the body of council for the adoption of the 2021 budget, 2021 Folcroft budget spelled correctly, with the amendments made this evening, with the help of Councilman McGuigan.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, unmute yourselves for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Nay.
The no vote is noted. So I'd like to submit for the consideration of the body of council a motion to actually, let's talk about it first. I guess we did the affixing of the real estate property tax that was discussed, sort of all rolled up into the same discussion we just had. So let me restart that. I'd like to request a motion from the body of council for an ordinance affixing the real estate property tax rate for the year 2021.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
The no vote is noted. All right. So does anybody have anything else? New business, old business to discuss? Kyle, there was one thing I wanted to discuss with you, and to the rest of council. We are looking into some sort of rebate for sewage fees or trash fees. We haven't determined yet, for senior citizens who qualify for the property tax rent rebate program. So if you own your home and you qualified for a rent rebate and you make under $35,000 a year, there's really no good reason on earth why we shouldn't try to find something that we can do to help residents in that situation with this tax increase. There are probably maybe, I don't know, 200 or 300 people in that situation, and a rebate of, $100 or $150 for the year on their sewage fees would probably neutralize the tax increase that they would feel. And it's something that Kyle and I would like to look into with the rest of council. We've talked about it privately. How does everybody else feel about that? I know that Ridley Township does it, and it's a popular program for seniors. I estimate if we did this, it could cost us anywhere between $50,000 and $60,000. We'll have the money. But these are all really rough projections, but it's something that I wanted council to start considering, and I think that we should maybe start looking into what that would look like. Does anybody object to that, to us exploring that a little more? Does anybody have any questions about it? Does anybody want a glass of champagne?
Just have some old business. I'm glad that 2020 is old business and 2021 is about to become new business.
Yes, sir. I will drink to that.
Amen to that.
Amen. Amen to that.
Amen to that.
Yes, sir. So, all right. That said, I think we've covered it. But I did want to get the word out that, to senior citizens who are worried about what this increase would feel for them, that we are considering something that would be helpful. That said, I'd like to maybe entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously, the only one of the night. I want to wish everybody a very happy, safe and healthy new year. And I love you guys. Be safe, have fun, and I'll see you next month.
Happy
Next
New Year.
Ian 21. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.